judgments. Not that I can provide them, but
You got a haircut.
I know, but I did. But it's gone a bit
you did
mad.
yours.
But Alexis, you said you'd done yours and it hadn't gone very well.
It hasn't. I've got two hairdos in one. I've got a bob and a long hairdo. And if you look at the back,
it looks good.
Yeah, it looks great.
In your face.
I feel like I'm in glow. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit.
It's lovely.
80s. So should we hit record and we'll just go for it?
Absolutely. You're in the morning, aren't you, Pamela? Have you had your breakfast?
No.
Okay.
What time is it?
Do you want to go and grab something?
It's 11 a.m.
Very good.
Oh, very nice. Very classy.
I have tea. I love you,
Okay.
Skills.
I love you, Pamela.
Alexis. Thank you for having Celia. I just, she wrote something on Twitter and I was like, all right, I'll go on your fucking thing. and then when she hit me back and Erica I was like, what about Skills too?
Yes.
Why not? So good.
Because this is for the UK and obviously, well, I mean, obviously like other people can listen if they want to, but this is for the UK where you are very much beloved. So,
But hasn't it been a huge success though in the UK suddenly at last?
yeah.
Yeah.
For a long time, I think people thought I was on holiday for 3 years, didn't they?
No, it's been a huge hit, and I really, really want to make sure that series 4 comes out soon. So we're going to have to make this happen because we're missing out. We don't know what's going
It drives me crazy because on social media, people are like, when's it coming? When's it coming? I can't even go to my network anymore and ask because the BBC player, it has nothing to do with it. So like, I literally would be talking out of my butthole. So I assume it's going to be sometime soon because it's all aired here. I think they should roll out together at the same time. Make everybody, you know what I mean?
So do
But
I.
it's keeping us excited about it. Yeah. And your tweets are whetting our appetite because obviously, and we are talking about better things. If you've just joined us and you're not sure what we're talking about Better Things, which is Pamela Adlon's amazing baby. We'll call it baby. It's a TV series co-starring Celia Imrie and amazing cast. And we're up to season 3 in the UK. Everywhere else, so I'm guessing this is on in other countries, etc. Aside from the States. Is this a?
Oh yeah. I mean, all I know is like what I hear and feedback that I get on social media and fan mail, and it's all over the world. It's in India, it's in Spain, it's in New Zealand, Australia, Mexico, and that makes me so happy because I've always felt that my show is really an international show. It's not an American show. It's a very human story. And so I have always wanted it to be for the people. And then I put Celia Imrie in it, and it's just like,
spoiled it all.
It just
No, it can't fail.
The moon. It went universal.
In my stalking of you, I've seen pictures of your mum, Pamela, and I'm guessing that this was your mum the blueprint, or did Celia arrive in your head and you were like, Mum, you're going to have to change what you look like to fit in? What came first, Celia or your mum?
Well, my mom is my muse, of course, and she used to drive me absolutely fucking bonkers, and she would come in and start telling me stories and just be like, when we take we have the committee and I will go to the museum and whatever. And I would and finally one day I just looked at my mom and I'm like, oh, you're funny. This is funny. Why am I so annoyed by you? And instead of me, being agitated, I embraced her. And then, along comes my show. And I said to my mom, what should I name the character who's my mom? And she said, Phyllis, because that was her mother's name was Phil.
Oh,
and then, my idea of Phil, of the mother character, was I wanted her to be formidable, like just, and kind of like a mixture between Katharine Hepburn and Philadelphia Story. And then the next day you could see her and she's like a fluff, like a little old fluff. Meanwhile, I end up casting Celia Imrie, who's like younger than me and hotter than I've ever been. And it's really a fucking nightmare because she's just comes in all tits gangbusters. And the first fitting, they put her in this like suit and the top's open and tits and she's got this cool haircut. And I'm like, okay, wow. This is amazing.
That was not good.
No.
And was Celia the only, I mean, she can't hear us. Was she your only choice or did you actually get anyone else in to read for the role?
She was the number one choice.
Correct answer.
But the marvelous story, Alexis, is that we met just like this.
Oh.
That's the weirdest thing. I don't think I've ever got a job on screen. It was a sort of Skype, wasn't it, Pamela?
It's true.
I was in Vancouver and you were in your house and we talked and laughed and I don't know how you did it, but I got to read the script as well on screen.
She really worked me over Skype. Yeah. She worked me. She kept doing like things with her eyes and her hands like,
yes.
You will want me. She's putting her spell on me, you know.
It's one of the modules in drama school, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was I got very lucky, obviously.
You did.
So did I. Boy, oh boy.
So how has this changed things for you? So obviously you've had an international career. You've done big movies as well as British TV, which we will get to because we have to talk about Acorn Antiques. But how has this changed your life in the last, is it 3-4 years?
Yes. Well, I mean, Pamela can't stand me talking about her, but the thing is, she's made a dream of mine come true because I jumped on a ship one day and thought, I'm going to America now because if I don't go now, I never will. And it was something that I thought, actually, you can't be internationally well known, really, until you've courted America. And so Pamela gave me the chance. And
so that's what you did, Skills. Like you just literally said, screw it, I'm going to America. And that's when you met Flea. You like took every meeting you could.
Exactly. And if you remember,
an amazing story to tell people who are listening to this of how to pioneer your future.
You have to do it. And it was, I think my son had just gone to university. So I knew that this was a good moment. But if I'd left it any longer or not literally jumped ship, because that's how I like to come rather than fly. And I had no idea what was going to happen. No idea. So yes, it was a gamble, but a great one. Great.
You know, this is, can I say one? Okay. This is so cool. Because you did that. And okay, there was one Phil originally cast. This is just a great story.
And that's when I went to meet Flea.
And it was Fionnuala Flanagan.
Okay, yeah.
It was my first Phil. And I met her. We had tea. And she was incredible. And she was going to be Phil. She got offered an ABC pilot. Of course, we could not even touch the money that she was being offered. And so Fionnuala, dear, I love her. She went away. And then Flea said, I met the most incredible woman. But I had cast Fionnuala. But then Fionnuala took the ABC pilot and she said, now you have to meet Celia. And I was like, oh. And that's because Celia horned her way into every office she could get into.
I did.
In LA.
And Flea said to me as I left that day, she said, it's such a shame because there was a marvelous, wonderful part absolutely for you, but I'm afraid it's been cast.
So Pamela, were you aware of Celia's pedigree? You've never seen, because you have to have seen Acorn Antiques by now, I'm guessing, at some point.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
ladies.
I'd seen Celia's tits in Calendar Girls.
It
And I saw her in Punch Drunk Love and, you know, all her things. I mean, I'd loved her for years, Bridget Jones' Diary, everything. But Celia and I are like that person that it's like, oh, I know that. She's in that. I know her, but we don't quite, you know what I mean? We're in the psyche. I mean, I think she's like, you know, Celia's like a dame and shit, right? Isn't she a dame by now? Come on, you guys.
No, but I love being a dame in shit. That is the best title. And also, I'm very dame-like on set, aren't I, Pamela?
Oh my God.
You see,
I
it's
can't.
a nightmare. It's like a
I
nightmare.
can't. Have you seen, I don't know if we published it, the gag reel of Celia this season having her heart, spoiler alert, we can't even talk about.
No, don't tell me that. No,
we can't. Oh, I love it.
It's unfair. I don't have to speak in code or something.
See, the thing is anything that Pamela asks me to do, I will do. And that was the sort of fatal thing, because I think I sort of said that to her once in the dressing room, in the makeup room. And so she does. She gets me to do, well, you'll see.
Well, your
character's been quite awful. I mean, she's lovable, and in certain moments, as you say, there's the moments of Steel Magnolia, but you've done some awful things and said some awful things in character as Phil.
I have. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, you know, that's
right.
You know, levels and levels apart. Nothing. I've never played anything like it.
There's nothing there. People aren't black and white. People aren't all bad, all good. And so, you know, you see Phil being sassy, and then you see Sam physically abusing Phil, like pushing her up the driveway. And you see them pranking each other and playing with each other, but you also see them having real conversations. Yeah. And they're at the forefront of each other's mind.
Yeah.
So it's a very human relationship. You know, it isn't just like Phil is an asshole or whatever. Yeah. Sam's an asshole sometimes too, you know. But
we have to talk about Sam's daughters, because boy, that's a roller coaster. The complexity of the daughters' characters. You just go on such a journey with them. Sometimes you're like, what little shits? But then they do something, a little moment when they bring the cake or whatever. How much of that, and you don't have to be too honest if you don't want to, how much of that has come from your relationship with your own daughters? That kind of love them, hate them.
Well, that just comes from, you know, raising three girls, raising three young women. So, I mean, that's my barometer for what I know. And also stuff from my own childhood, you know, I'm able to relive that. The fight that Frankie and Duke have in the parking lot of the go-karting place, when I say, you can say anything you want to each other. You know, that's something that my mother did with me and my brother when we were young. And like, I was about to stab my brother in the chest with a fork with intent to murder him. I was ready to murder him. And my mom kind of just went, ah! And she pretended to faint on the floor to get us to stop trying to kill each other. And then she put us at opposite ends of the hallway, and she said, 5 minutes, you can say anything you want to each other, anything. And we couldn't even get through 30 seconds. And that's what I put in the show. So
it's such a good moment. And what a clever thing to do as a mom, actually.
Right?
It's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea.
I'll never forget, Skills, when you said to me, when I showed episode 301 to the crew, remember we all sat on the floor of the living room?
Yeah.
And it ends with Frankie and I reading A Raisin in the Sun back and forth.
Yes.
And
we all cried, didn't we?
And you looked at me and you said, God, I wish I'd done that with Angs.
I know. I do. It's the things that you've done with your daughters, I mean, in your real life and put on screen. It's very, Well, it's universal, you see. That's what's so clever. It's not English, it's not American, it's everything. And I love that we're playing in India. I think that's so cool.
I read a fantastic article someone had written. I saw you picked up on it, Pamela, about the maternal streak, basically, in Better Things, and how it's very much, it could be a situation that's there to hurt, but it's there to soothe. I just thought it was a lovely article, and it was such a positive spin on what is actually a positive experience of being a single parent. I'm one as well, and that was what connected me with the show. I just think there's such a beauty in it, the beauty in that relationship that you have with your daughters. And actually it's enviable. I don't think I've ever watched anything where a single parenting situation has been enviable. So, you know, I just wanted to say thanks for that. You know, some of the moments, my favorite, so I want to ask Kate as well, because Kate's a massive Better Things fan. So I want to say what my favorite moment's been so far, because I haven't seen bloody season 4 because we're not allowed to yet, but my favorite moment, and I really need to learn how it all happened, was when you performed Tilted for, was it Frankie's graduation? Max, right. So Celia, I didn't know you could dance that well, so that was amazing, but I howled with tears. It was just beautiful. What a gift. And I was expecting her to get a car, you know, for those of you listening, if you haven't seen it, Pamela's character Sam gets this present, arranges this present for her daughter's graduation, and it's that all of your family do this choreographed Christine and the Queens track in the garden. So
that's Celia's favorite thing. Talk about, you go ahead, Skills, you talk about it.
Yeah, tell us.
Well, the thing is, first of all, I wanted to be a ballet dancer when I was young, so that was a thrill for me. But we did work.
Ballet or belly?
Ballet, but it turned into belly. But yeah, the most wonderful thing about the whole thing is that we kept it totally secret from Max. So she had no idea, and that was a thrill. Actually, we all had to speak in code, and we worked really hard. Wonderful choreographer, and we worked for 2 hours at a time, didn't we, Pamela? Each weekend. In fact, I'm not so sure we didn't do both days, Saturday and Sunday, maybe.
No, we did 2 to 3 hours secret choreography with Cat
every weekend. Yes,
every single weekend, and
all secret.
And I had pulled the pages from the script, so it was just a need to know basis, because I didn't want it to leak departmentally. And I mean, we built that stage and everything, but we loved doing it. It was, I mean, for Celia and I, we lived for those weekends, even though we were shooting Monday through Friday. Yeah. I'm in almost every scene, I'm directing. So 5 days, and you'd think I would be exhausted on the weekends. It was exhilarating. I would go pick up Celia in West Hollywood, drive her to the Debbie Reynolds dance studio in Van Nuys, and we would spend 3 hours Saturday and Sunday, or one of those days, doing this routine. I knew that I had to start at the beginning of pre-production. Otherwise, I had to get it into my body so I could remember it, you know? And then I slipped my disc on the day after we had done it 2 times. And so you can even tell how I'm moved, like, and that was
all part of it.
And then we went to White Rock right after. And so we shot that in June. And then in October, I finally got an MRI. And my doctor was like, "What are you doing?"
Wow.
Like, I'm busy.
But on the day, do you remember, it was like a sort of first night. We were so excited, having kept this secret for weeks, actually.
Yeah.
And then we did it. God, it was good. It really
we kept it secret for 3 months.
And
so
also,
how many takes did you have? Sorry, how many takes did you have of her reaction then? Or was that the reaction we see on screen? Is that genuine?
Yeah, that's her reaction. Wow. I totally thought she was going to be like crying or whatever, but you know.
But it was totally real. And when the music comes on, it thrills me. It was a great thing to pull off, and we did.
We all loved it. And Mikey, who plays Max, she said it's still one of her favorite memories ever. And I know for Olivia and me, Hannah and Celia, I mean, it's unparalleled.
And Kate, what was your favorite?
Well, I was going to say the Tilted episode. So lovely to hear that everyone is so connected to it, and that there are all these great stories, and that it's a real favorite.
And then I took my daughters to go see Chris, King and the Queens, at the Wiltern in LA. Oh no, Chris performed at Hollywood Forever. The cemetery, that's one of my favorite places in LA. Yeah. They have a stage. And so I was with my oldest daughter, and we're sitting there and we're dancing and everything. And then all of a sudden the beginning notes of Tilted happened. And Janine and I looked at each other like, oh yeah. And I didn't think Chris knew who the fuck I was. And she looked right at me and she goes, this is for you.
Oh, how thrilling. Oh God. Oh God.
So
what a marvelous present to give someone.
Okay. Yeah, that is a marvelous present. And how did you think of that? Had someone ever done that for you, Pamela, or is it just came up?
No, believe it or not, a lot of the show is scripted and it's not based on real life.
I don't want to believe it, because I don't.
Oh my God! If one more fucking person is like, how much of this is based on your real life or whatever? I mean, my kids are getting confused, everything. But I can tell you that my friend Heather, who used to do my roots before she moved up to Ojai, we would be in the salon and we would show each other music or whatever and say, I'm listening to this, or look at this. And she showed me the Christine and the Queens video. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I couldn't get it out of my head. I became obsessed with it, obsessed with her dancing and the choreography and the black box stage. And so I knew I wanted to do it in the show. And I knew that I wanted us to do it, the family to do it. And so I even gave Heather a special thanks to Heather Adams, because she's the one who showed me the video.
Well, I was going to ask you about the music in the show, because I haven't seen an official soundtrack, and I feel like there should be.
It's on Spotify, like everybody.
Yeah. I found the playlist, but I like to buy CDs because I'm old school. But how do you come up with? Are you involved in the music supervision, or is you literally doing so much with the show? How involved do you get with it?
Of course, I'm involved with the music. I have a music supervisor, Nora Felder. She started with season 2, but I get an idea in my head. So I came into this. Oh, I can't talk about season 4. Okay, then. Anyway, I knew I wanted to have a choir sing Shake It Out, the Florence and the Machine song. I knew I wanted to have Tilted. I knew I wanted to have, there's certain cues that I got married to, like Only Women Bleed and things like that. And then Nora brought me the Corinna Rep song, Pattern of Electricity, the one that's rising from the Santa Barbara episode. So between Nora and I, we make beautiful music together.
I think it's the mood. It's just the mood of certain. I think that it was the end of the pilot episode with Both Sides Now, when that comes in. I mean, I've heard that track a million times.
Oh yeah.
In the context.
Yeah, I needed that. Clouds, the orchestral version of Joni Mitchell. So that was in my head. I also had 3 Lou Reed cues that I wanted. I could not get them. I did get the Laurie Anderson cue, Superman, and Only Women Bleed. And so I had to swap some stuff. And so my friend Sean, he was like a starving musician, Sean Allen. And I said, send me your music. And I ended up putting 4 of his cues in season 1. And one of them is in a scene with me and Lenny Kravitz. And he got Shazammed so many times. He got representation. It put him on the map. So, you know, sometimes when you can't afford one person, then you give an opportunity to somebody else. And it blew him up, and it really is a great success story for him.
I didn't know that. What a wonderful, wonderful present.
That is a lovely story, that it goes on and helps people. I mean, you mentioned about Lenny Kravitz. I've got a personal interest in all the guys that, you know, Sam's character almost gets together with. And it's just, I don't know what happens in season 4, obviously, but for one of the hooks of the show is just, there's that old-fashioned longing that you get when you watch a great show, where you just find that you want these two people to get together. And I feel like when I watch it, as much as I love that your character is a single parent, she's thriving and everything, but you just wanted to find someone who's on her level. And it's great. It must be so exciting for you that you can sit there and cherry pick anyone from the acting world and go, right, I want to get David Duchovny and I want to get Lenny Kravitz in, etc.
Well, David told me, he goes, put me in your show. So,
oh, wow.
So that's how he ended up in. And Lenny and I have known each other since we were kids. We grew up together. We hadn't seen each other in 30 years, which is so cool. But it's really interesting how people need people to hook up.
Yeah.
And you'll see, I can't talk about season 4, obviously, but, you know, I myself am single, and, you know, I'm very happy in my life. And, you know, some people just think that a single woman is an unhappy person. And I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm very fulfilled, and even more so, I don't want to have a relationship. I don't want to smell somebody's mouth. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, no. Yeah. I'm super happy with the way it is. At the end of the day, I just have myself, and I go, okay, what can I watch now? Okay, let's watch Acorn Bricks. What's your show
Acorn
called?
Antiques.
Yeah.
There's the segue.
Yeah, loved it. But do you understand though that like us viewers, we just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the setup or what. And it's just that you just want her to find, I don't know, you just still want her to find someone, despite the fact, and maybe it's an old-fashioned conditioning or something in all of us, and it's good making me question myself for saying it, but it's that disappointment, and I think basically no one matches up to her because she's so strong. And the guys that kind of, there was one guy played, when you go on a date to a winery, he was a very famous child actor, and I can't think of the guy's name.
Henry Thomas.
I love that episode.
It was gorgeous, but he's, you know, and you just get this, and you're like, you really want him to be big enough, and you want him to be strong enough, and he's just not, and it's just disappointing. I mean, it was
them alive.
Yeah. Do you think, well, you can't tell us if there's someone that matches up, but do you think that's like a common desire when you're watching a show that you're invested in, that you want to see romance there?
I do. And I exactly like what I'm saying to you. I wonder why it's not okay for somebody to not have that, you know? So, I mean, so anyway, I can't talk about this season. So Acorn Antiques.
But it starts off, isn't it? I mean, at season 4, you'll see the Sam and her daughters have a conversation exactly about this in the car.
Okay.
First scene,
exactly.
I like the idea.
We went in a time machine to yesteryear.
But I like the idea of you know, Sam being single, because I think it is something, like Alexis, you said earlier, you just don't see sort of aspirational single women who they're just single. That's not their USP or anything. That's just how it is.
Maybe There's cousin Brenda at the party. Where are we going to put her?
The spinster. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because I'm in a relationship, so I like watching single people.
Ah, that's interesting.
So Acorn Antiques.
Okay.
Should we cover that off? Because I feel like.
Good night.
Go on.
Well, I have to be quick. Okay.
This is what she does to me. You know,
Yeah.
if she's not in a scene or in an episode, she's in the bin. She throws the fucking script in the bin.
Don't even open it, actually, when I'm not in it. No.
Yes.
The thing is that Pamela would have to see it, because the thing is, you'd laugh, you'd like it, Pamela, because you see me going wrong all the time.
Okay, I what's it on? Is it on BBC or?
You find it on YouTube.
I was going to say, I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
The whole point of it is it's a really ropey soap opera, and I'm trying to keep it all together, but we all go wrong the whole time.
You get naked in it?
I don't.
She looks incredibly gorgeous in it, I have to say.
She's the most gorgeous woman in the world.
No, I haven't got any makeup on. I've got a bad haircut, but never mind. We keep going, don't we?
What was it like to film Acorn Antiques? How much of that? Was it very rehearsed, very slick, very scripted, or how much?
Yes,
came from you guys?
very scripted, very serious, and we never did it in front of an audience, which is quite an interesting fact. So you know, we had to be. Victoria, God bless her, was a very strict. You know, it was like music. The script. Nothing changed at all, but it was great, and a bit like you in a way, Pamela. The thing is to have a core of people coming together, you know, year after year. That is a huge plus, because you all know each other. You can all work together really quickly. Trust each other. You can have a laugh. You've got to have a laugh.
I was going to ask you both. Obviously, this show is for a lot of our audience are comedians, comedy writers, wannabe comedians, and comedy writers. How did you both know, or when did you both know that you had funny bones? Like, when did you both know that you can make other people laugh, and you had that in you?
Scale.
Well, truly, I think the sound of people laughing at you, particularly if you're, say, in a theatre and a whole audience is laughing at you, I mean, it is a huge thrill. There's no question about it. And even, you know, on a film set, for instance, with Better Things, I suppose the first opportunity probably is the first time you do the script. And if, you know, the crew are laughing, we're happy, aren't we, Pamela? Or
yeah, but
Pamela laughs.
That's the worst gauge, because we sit there, we're like, oh my God, we're going to do it for the crew right now. It's going to be so awesome. And we go in there and they're all like, nobody fucking, not even one titter, nothing. And you're like,
oh dear. Yeah.
Is it true? It's so anticlimactic, because they're sitting there going like,
yeah,
come on.
They're all thinking about their own things. They couldn't give a shit about us. And yes, it is awful. Because you get very nervous when you know the crew are all coming in. And then you start up.
We want them to like react the way we want them to be like, oh, and then we have Alan Tanner, who's our set guy, and he makes us feel good. But my dad was a comedy writer. So I grew up in this world. You know, I grew up on sound stages, and I grew up around guys like Jimmy Comack and, all the great old dinosaur writers who were all pages at NBC. And I remember my dad did a live show. It was a musical version of Archie Comics, and Jimmy Comack was producing it. And I walked around like I was a producer, like I was pretending like I had a script under my arm, 10 years old. Script under my arm, a scarf around my neck, because you have to have a scarf around your neck when you're a producer. And I did the warm-up. I told jokes when I was 10 years old for the audience. And I just had the bug early on. I just wanted to be on stage. I wanted to be a performer. I knew that laughter was the greatest diffuser. And growing up with a very intense dad, you know, who we locked horns from the time I was 11 until I moved out of the house when I was 18. And then after I moved out of the house, my dad and I got very close and started writing together.
Oh.
And through that process of kind of sitting down and telling stories and taking a piss out of each other, it was like therapy. And we overcame a lot of the stuff that was very hard growing up and living in the same house.
I think comedy is a great tool for diffusing any sort of tension and anger. And I think a lot of people that have come from dramatic backgrounds, you know, or conflict in their families, you know, gravitate towards that for sure.
I also think medically laughing, it is a great cure. I mean, I really do. And everyone's having a hard time at the moment, but to have a laugh, honestly, it makes your whole face and body feel better.
It changes all of your DNA. It flips it all around.
So as you mentioned, we are in lockdown at the minute. What is making you laugh at the moment? Is there any comedy that you've gotten into, or are you watching serious shit? What are you watching at the moment?
Well, I mean, I'm writing a movie.
Oh, I love the Pamela's just swiped the curtain away to show us the storyboard there.
I had to get curtains because, I mean, I was literally doing like Zooms on shows and they were reading the board.
Oh, no.
I know.
No.
You know, I've been cooking a lot. The girls come in and out, like they get re-quarantined, you know, because of exposure. So then they have to go back into isolation. And I take care of my mom, and I bring her food like every day. And I've watched some stuff, and now I'm on a doomsday, like a total. I watched 2012 last night, and
Contagion. You tried Contagion yet? I know.
Cloverfield.
Right.
I watched Contagion at the beginning of this thing. But yeah, I like getting myself all amped up without, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, that's really bad. Give me something worse than what's going on right now. You know, that helps me. But some days, you know, I'm extremely productive, and some days I just get weary. And
isn't that strange, though?
Honey?
Isn't that the strangest thing, how tired you get on days when you really have not achieved very much? I find that absolutely extraordinary.
I feel like the time is going by so fast right now, which is weird. I'm trying to remember the day that I became a British citizen, which was
this was in January, right?
January.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, that was the craziest day too, because I walk into the office, there were like 19 people in there, and out of everybody in the world, there was a writer from King of the Hill in the room. Alex, what the fuck? And so it's like, I said, so we probably started this process exactly at the same time.
So Pamela, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but did you know that Celia was a pop star and had a top 40 record in the UK?
Of course she does, but no.
What is it? Yeah, I'm sure I bored you with it, Pamela.
Have you not? I mean, I would be demanding that everybody on set knows this. But obviously,
demanding, but I perhaps missed that one. It's the beginning
I think that's
of Mamma Mia 2.
What's your stage name? Oh, it's from Mamma Mia 2?
Yes, When I Kissed the Teacher.
Mamma Mia 2.
When I Kissed the Teacher. Check it out. Got in the hit parade.
I feel like between the two of you, do you remember the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like, where I feel like between the two of you, you're probably related to every film or TV series that exists.
Maybe.
Or cartoon or animation, because of course, Pamela, you've voiced so many beloved characters over the years. Is that something you're continuing to do, or?
Yeah, I'm doing, I do a lot of animation in lockdown. It's crazy because, here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I got my own setup. I had to because we're recording from home, so I got this set up and it can go right into my computer.
Wow.
I've done I've been lucky enough to do a character on Big Mouth, so I've done a bunch of Big Mouths, and we're trying to find the way to make it sound great. I did Archer, and they like literally sent a black box with this mic, and it was like it was an organ and had to go.
You put your head into it, because I've seen these advertised where you like, it's like a living, breathing thing.
You know, that's really smart, because what's happening is you're getting this bounce, and the sound mix is not going to be great, but you know, I mean, of course, animation is the way to go right now, because you don't have to have exposure. But you know, yeah, I've been lucky enough to be doing my animation from home. You just want to take care to make it sound the best. Like I have a mic that plugs into my phone. I have this Yeti. Hey, you guys, what are you doing?
Same.
Oh, good. Is that a Yeti?
Yeah.
Marvelous.
We're professional.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I need a Yeti now. But with the animation side of things, I mean, you've literally been on all the biggest cartoons going. When did you start that? Was that when you were a teenager, or were you younger?
I did it. Smile skills. Take a picture. I started doing that in my early 20s, and you know, I was doing radio. I did a lot of radio, and I really wanted to break into animation, and I just could not do it. And then all of a sudden I started getting my first animated jobs, and then I never did radio again. It's like, for some reason you could do one or the other, but yeah, I'm very, very lucky that I was able to do that. And I always say that it's not just, you know, having an interesting voice helps. Being able to act, you have to, but it's about your ear, you know, and all the greatest animation actors that I know are brilliant mimics. They can, you know what I mean? They just go through this Rolodex in their head of like sounds and things like that. And when I'm looking for people for my show and I'm casting my show, it's always about the voice of the actor. I'm attracted to the sound. So if somebody's got like
Celia's voice is incredibly, you've got an incredibly distinctive voice, haven't you?
Yes. Talking about me.
Your voice, darling. Your voice. I said your voice is so distinctive. I mean, you must.
Yes, it's weird. I mean, I wouldn't have thought so, but I do remember it being one of the subjects that we, Pamela and I, when we first met, we used to do, links, wasn't it? Links.
And
one was animation, because I played Sally the surgeon, who was a hippopotamus. And I'm doing another one, hopefully, a Spanish. See, she's asleep. I'm doing a Spanish one, playing Bonneville's mother in a Spanish animation about mummies. I mean, you know, so yes, certainly something that we can grab hold of now, particularly. Anything like that.
Yeah, because is it frightening? How do you feel about the industry at the moment? It looks like certainly the BBC put out a press release. There was a press release involving the BBC about how they're going to start bringing actors back to EastEnders, one of our biggest shows over here. And, you know, the industry's starting to look at ways to come back. How do you feel about that at the moment?
Well, I've been having a WhatsApp conversation with the cast of the Pinter play that I did earlier on last year. And the thing is, it is very dramatic what might happen to the theatre. But the truth is, would any of us really like to go and sit in an auditorium, a packed auditorium with our kids right now? I wouldn't want to. So, I mean, things are going to have to change hugely.
Absolutely.
I think we should all go outside and do outside productions.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to let it go, but we have to be realistic. Would you want to go and sit in an auditorium?
It's devastating though, because brick and mortar is in a very precarious place, and we love our buildings, we love our theaters. And you know, one of my best friends, Lisa Leguiu, is the associate director of Wicked, and she's put it up all over the world, in every country in the world. And the Gershwin Theater in New York City is a 2,000 seat theater. And so it's like, what do you do? When are people going to feel comfortable? You fill the first row with people, and then you count 7 rows and keep those empty. But how do you fill the first row? You 6 feet apart. You know, the whole thing with droplets, 6 feet is bullshit. You know what I mean? And I mean, this is, there's the people, particularly in our country right now, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and my kids are embarrassed, you know, because of the behavior. And I'm grateful to live in California, where people are having some modicum of decency. And, you know, so the thing that we know is that we don't know anything, but hopefully we will not go back to the way things were. The way things were was not sustainable. The way things were, we were on a runaway train, a waste culture, climate ignorers, homophobic, racist, just, you know, consumption. You know, it's like, how can we couldn't sustain that, you know? So the reality is that I pray that we get better. That's what I pray.
Yeah,
I think,
and I totally agree with you, Celia. I think that's such a great point. You know, would we be comfortable? It's all very well campaigning to save theatres, but at the moment, I think,
and I'd love to, but we've got to be realistic. You see.
Are you
going to take us to the loo now, Pamela?
Oh my God, I'm on a podcast.
Well, we were actually building to, I was going to say crescendo, but a finale. And I just wanted to just find out what you've got coming up. Because Pamela, you've got a film coming out relatively soon in June. Is this correct? Is this?
Oh, I have, yeah, I did 2 films last year. And they both got into South by Southwest, which was canceled. And so one's called Holler and one is called King of Staten Island. It's Judd Apatow's new movie with Pete Davidson. And that's going to be on VOD June 12th.
Amazing. And Celia, what have you?
Luckily, I managed to do my bit of filming on Keeping Faith in Wales just before the lockdown, which had to stop halfway through. And I'm also doing notes on my next book.
And is this book number 6 for you, or where?
No, 5, I think.
Number 5.
That's
okay.
So fucking cool, Celia.
I know you are.
I have to get on. And
you're like smart and shit.
But the thing is, it's a great thing to be able to do on your own. Or,
yes.
You know what I mean? So you get on with it.
So at the end of lockdown, there'll be many books, podcasts, and animations, we're hoping. I think that's kind of...
Well, you know, here's the thing. It's that it's a time of reflection, and it's a correction for the human race. And so it really, there's no excuse to not kind of go for it right now. It's like, if you have an idea or whatever, whoever's listening to this, find somebody, get on Skype or Zoom with them or on the phone, talk to people, get your ideas out, bounce your ideas off of people. You need a sounding board, write it down. It's like, if you don't feel like you can write, you'd be so surprised. You can. Just sit there and if you wake up at 3 a.m. and you're depressed, pick up your phone, press your voice memos, and talk about how you feel. Listen to it the next morning and laugh at yourself. And then you've got a little comedy skit.
Exactly.
Amazing.
It's a wonderful positivity you've got, Pamela. And actually, I don't think people will go back. I have great faith in the human race. I think we will go forward. I think we're on our marks, get set, go.
Hope so.
And I love, Pamela, that you said it's a correction for the human race. I love that. I've not heard that before. What a great expression.
Yes.
And Thank you. It's so uplifting and lovely to hear you both like inspire us, and I'm sure our listeners will feel really motivated by that. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.